Today on the menu we have some chipotle bowls, and with that we're going to make some birria chicken. We have lettuce, cilantro lime rice, fajitas, pico de gallo, guacamole, and everything else for the fixings. I'm going to show you guys how to make all the main parts of this, and all that's left to do is build our bowl. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to start with is our protein, of course. Now, as I mentioned, these are birria chicken. So I'm going to season chicken breast with some salt, some pepper, and some cayenne / paprika. It's actually paprika on both sides. And then I'm going to lightly brown each side. And that's going to give us a good base, because in birria tacos, you usually let the chicken kind of like marinate in the consomme sauce. So I'm going to put that in the pan. I'm just going to wash my hands because I touched raw chicken. I swear I like wash my hands a million times when I cook. So in my pan, I'm just going to have some oil, very little, because I'm trying to cut down on the fat that I have. I'm just going to lay the chicken and let it brown each side for like 45 seconds. So I'm just going to flip it. Yeah, we have some color on there. Beautiful. I don't want to cook it too much because I want it to be underdone so that it really cooks in that consomme that we're going to make right after we do this. I'm trying to make it a one-pot dinner, except for the rice, because I really hate cleaning up after I cook, which if I ever never want to cook, it's because I have to clean. Okay, so I'm just going to let that finish up on this side. And while it's finishing up, I'm going to prep the dried chilies. So I have long chilies here, and I'm going to cut the top open and try to take out as many seeds as possible, just because I don't want it to be like burning hot. I want to have the perfect amount of spicy. So just going to go ahead, and they're going to come right out, and empty as many seeds as I can just to prep for our consomme. So I'm going to remove the chicken from the pan now, and I'm going to rest it in an oven-safe dish, just so it's ready to put our consomme to cook further on a little bit later. Now to the pan, I'm going to add some more oil, and I'm going to add our dried chilies and just cook it a bit just to open up the chilies. To the dried chilies, I'm going to add some garlic, some onion. Everything's roughly chopped because we are going to blend it. So I add a lot of onion because that's going to be the base of the sauce. And finally, some roughly chopped tomatoes. They're about quartered. I'm just going to let all the aromas come out. Now I'm going to add some chicken stock. And I'm going to let that cook down for about 20 minutes until everything is super tender. While we're waiting for this to boil, I'm going to get started on the cilantro lime rice. You can start by making the rice however you want. I put oil in the pot. Once the oil is heated in the pot, I'm going to add my rice that was soaking in water and obviously washed. I'm going to mix that up just to open the seeds a little bit before we put the water in. This helps it cook a lot faster. And once that has fried a bit and you can smell the rice, I'm going to add water just to cover it. And then we're going to let it boil and simmer. Now that it's been boiling for about 20 minutes, I'm going to remove all the chunky stuff with a slotted spoon, put it into a bowl or a blender if you have a blender. I just don't have one, so I'm going to use an immersion blender for this. And then we're going to go ahead and blend everything. Now I'm going to blend it until it's all nice and combined, but I'm going to have to be careful because it is an immersion blender and it's going to go everywhere. So if you have a blender, like a regular blender, I definitely recommend it. Now that it's beautifully blended, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on top of the chicken. I'm going to add some cumin and some dried oregano. And on top of this, we're going to take the liquid and we're going to pour it on, and this is going to be our cooking liquid. It's going to be beautiful. The reason we don't mix it all together is because we don't want that watery consistency of both of them. We kind of want them to be separated. So I'm just going to make sure everything is incorporated. So I just realized I ran out of tin foil. So normally I would cover it with tin foil, but I'm going to just use parchment paper for now. And I'm going to put it in the oven for about 30 minutes or until we're done with everything else. We're going to let that cook real slow. Now to the same pot, because we are trying to save on dishes, I'm going to put some oil Not too much. She says, well, she puts a lot. And we're gonna turn it back on. Now to the pan, I'm going to add a mixture of green peppers, yellow peppers, and onions for our fajita mix. So while we finish cooking the fajitas, we're gonna get started on our cilantro lime rice. So I'm gonna put the rice into a bowl and just fluff it out as I put it in because it has been steaming. Ooh, beautiful rice. And to that, I'm going to add some lime juice that I pre-squeezed and some cilantro, which is very simple, but makes such a beautiful rice. And I'm gonna mix that all up and set that to a side while the rest is cooking. So the fajita is done. I'm just gonna put that aside in a bowl. I have some black beans boiling in a pot, just canned black beans. And while we're still waiting on the chicken, we're gonna get started on our pico de gallo and our guacamole because there's no chipotle without pico and guac. So I took the chicken out of the oven and it is done. I'm just gonna let it rest because it's gonna be really hot and I'm gonna shred it by hand. So until we're done with our guacamole and our pico de gallo and getting everything together. So I already have everything chopped and minced here. I'm gonna put some onion and some jalapeno into a bowl and I'm gonna add some lime juice and I'm gonna just let that marinate for a little bit to get kind of like the stinging onion taste out. And then I'm gonna add in some diced tomato. I'm gonna mix that up. And we're gonna finish it off with some cilantro. And super simple, super easy. That's why I love pico because it's healthy and it's just an amazing side to add to a dish. Now for the guacamole, obviously we need some avocado in there. So I'm gonna put 2 avocados. You can put however much you want, obviously. And we're just going to mash that. Actually, I'm gonna go get a masher. So with a masher, I'm gonna go ahead and mash that, but not too much because I like it a little bit chunky. I don't want it to be very, very smooth. And to that, we are going to add garlic, minced garlic, some minced jalapeno, maybe a little bit more garlic, some chopped onion, a little bit more, and some lime juice. And I'm gonna mix that really well. Make sure it's all well incorporated. And I'm gonna top it off with some chopped tomato and some cilantro. What I love about this type of cuisine is that you can literally like chop up onion, tomato, and cilantro and it'll be used in a lot of your dishes. Ooh, this looks and smells beautiful and vibrant. So now all of our components are done. I'm just gonna go ahead and shred the chicken. I put some gloves on to try to break that heat barrier because it is gonna be pretty hot. So once I'm done shredding the chicken, we're gonna build our chipotle bowl. It's gonna be delicious and healthy.